We can do a little bit of chat. People who are here, I mean, yesterday I was there at the, session, and you people had certain, queries which you were putting to Dr. Prabhu. So if in case if you still have certain issues while everyone joins, if there's something, so far what you've done, you've gone through the 2 stages, you've done a little bit of communication already. And so today I'll be continuing with the communication part. And so I'll take over the work that has been assigned by Gandha to me. So is there anything that before everyone joins, is there any, cobwebs that you have, you want to clear about the process, about whatever has happened so far?
Yesterday's session, I just had a query.
Yes, sir.
So, as that builder thing, and also as a mediator, I asked the concerned party why they chose a particular builder. And apparently, that was not a very good question, but I did it from the point of view that I just wanted them to recollect that they have selected him because of his good background and because of all the whatever good constructions he has done. So I did it from that point of view so that, probably their anger would subside a bit. But apparently that was not the right thing to do.
Sonu, unfortunately, a lot of our questions sometimes sound like cross-examination.
Okay.
And when people feel that they're being cross-examined, they feel they've done something wrong. And therefore, you have to be, the question is how you frame your questions. Maybe the same thing you could have said, differently. No, let me try and put it to you this way. I understand that, going to this builder, you had this thing in mind. Correct me if I'm wrong. You see, when you use such expression as help me understand, correct me if I'm wrong, they are more of curious questions that you are really wanting to know. So it's the frame of the question which is important. And it depends on how you put it, because how it will be perceived by the parties. And what we generally talk in mediation, you will find that, our entire conversation moves in a very, very different direction. Like, for example, stopping parties when they are repeating themselves or that they go on. You must realize, as I said, it is important that nobody hears the parties. Nobody listens to them. In the first instance, the lawyer listens till he gets his fees, and thereafter he is know all. Whenever party wants to say something, I know everything about your case. When he wants the judge to listen to him, judge says, you already have a lawyer. Why do you want to say something? Let the lawyer speak. So when they get an opportunity in mediation to sit next to you, they feel confident that here is a person before whom we can really vent out, pour out our heart, and we feel that the person will help. And therefore, they will go on saying things till you use one of the tools that we have given you, or I'll be talking about that even today, is summarizing or paraphrasing. That's where parties stop repeating themselves once they feel that you have understood them. They will not repeat themselves. They will go on repeating till you actually summarize.
Okay.
Because they don't know whether you really understood. So they will go on trying to, making an attempt to see that, you come to know or come to understand what they're wanting to say. So summarizing is a very, very good tool that you can use to stop parties from repeating.
Okay.
Then when they interrupt, instead of telling them, look, don't do that. If you remember, in the opening statement, I gave you one, and after you've done your entire opening statement, take their consent. So all that you have to say is, ma'am, sir, we agreed. that we will not talk over each other. That's all that you have to say, and they will say sorry. Or if they are using inappropriate language, ma'am, sir, we agreed in the beginning that we will not use language which hurts. They will say sorry. But question is, I must permit parties to vent. And therefore, to my mind, laying down time limits of 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes is not the right procedure. Permit them to vent. If you feel they are repeating or they are going overboard, use your skills. There's a way to stop them. Ma'am, I'll come back to you. Can I just go to the other side and come back to you with this? You may never come back. But what do? You have, permitted them to vent. You stuck to your timelines and said, I'll come back to you. Let me just hear the other person on this particular aspect and I'll come back to you. So you succeeded in maintaining your timelines? Parties don't want to be told that this is also a forum where we will get, 5 minutes by the clock, 10 minutes by the clock, 15 minutes by the clock. They want to vent out. And that's the only way that you build trust. And look at the important part. I keep telling people, see the importance of the opening statement. When you say, when one speaks, the other listens. See what is happening. Parties are already in the stage of giving each other a space. So give and take has already started. The moment you make your opening statement, you must give space to the other side. Listen to the other side. When they are talking, you come back later. So what have I done? That space where I wanted to talk, I have let people, the other side, also get that space. So give and take has already started the moment that ground rule was laid down. There is a lot to do with psychology. I'm not a psychology student. I'm not a counselor. But the more I, talk about the mediation process, I realize that I'm learning. And it's actually human psychology. You're dealing with human beings at the end of the day. So therefore, don't be scared. You will make mistakes. I make mistakes even now. After doing so much, it depends on what circumstances you get stuck in. Like for example, I'm still looking at Dr. Indu's example of an angry patient. You may have A to Z, everything laid down before you how to deal with that person. But when it comes to dealing with that man face to face, you will forget all your A to Z. It's very easy to have that theory before you that this is how you deal with an angry patient. No, they don't work unless you practice these things. This will all remain on paper. You'll go back to your old ways, whatever you've learned, your own biases, own prejudices, own stereotypes. They are already there, ingrained into you. All this cognitive thinking, everything disappears once you're angry. Your thinking is gone because you tend to react. See, when somebody is blaming you on your face, calling you names, do you think you can remain, calm and maintain a pleasant demeanor? It's very difficult. Subodhji can do it. I have seen him, talk. He has that ice in his veins, but I don't. I also tend to react sometimes. But of course, I will not use an inappropriate language. This is because I've got now, all this has been ingrained into me. But I will somewhere stop that man or use some other, situation where sometimes I'm sure you have, we've done this in our center. This woman comes in in a matrimonial dispute. They are with great difficulty. We made them sit across the table. And the man said something which was a little nasty. Though we make those ground rules that you're not going to use language which is inappropriate. The woman, we serve coffee, the woman threw the hot coffee on his face.
My God.
And that was the stage when we had to tell them, look, if you do not follow the norms, I may have to call the guards. I may have to report you to the court. So therefore, being nice doesn't work all the time. When people cross limits, you have to put your foot down. Tell them, look, I'll have to call the guards. That was the best, what Dr. Subodh said. Removing from the site, tell him, okay, this is not the place to talk. You see, because at the site, emotions get charged by seeing what is happening. Remove them from the site. Take them to some other place. And that's where they will come down. Because they can't see the patient, they can't see the same scene, they can't live the same scene. So the best way of cooling an angry man is remove him from that site. Request him, of course, politely, come, let's sit down, let's have a cup of coffee, come to my room, we'll sit down and we'll sort it out. So therefore, I may give you theory that this is how you deal with situations, but that doesn't work. It's very easy to say, but doesn't work when you're in, face to face with that situation. And so therefore, let's remember this. What is not only an angry patient, you will be dealing with your own colleagues. You will be dealing with your own staff. You will be dealing with your suppliers. You will be dealing with the insurance people, where such situations don't arise. And where you will be able to use these mediation skills to the best advantage. I mean, those are one-off cases. The angry patient, if there are times when angry, people are there, and let's accept this. Everyone is not uncivil. Once you use an appropriate language to calm them down and say, look, let's discuss it. Let's go to my room. I know you are upset. And best thing at that time to do, whenever a person is upset or distressed, is to acknowledge the feeling. I know you're upset. If I was in your position, maybe I would have felt the same way. Empathy. But this is not the place to talk about it. Let's move to my room. We'll talk about all this and we'll find a solution. I assure you. I mean, as he said, I'm the person, I'm in charge. I'll find a solution for you. But you have to devise your own ways. Theory is one thing, but how to deal with such situation, all of you will have to devise it in your own way. Right? So should we, anything else that we should start with our today's, and I still see a lot of people are missing. Kamakshi, is there any reason? Because I only see 7 people here.
Two of them have mentioned that they are not going to be joining in today. So Vrushali is, I believe, not coming in. Yeah, so that's what we have. Yeah, so I guess we can just go ahead.
Okay. You want to say something, Deepa? Yes.
Yeah, actually, what the question is, when the person has come for mediation and suppose the person starts going to loops and keeps repeating, and you stop that person at that point of time. You said that it is a skill that we need to develop over a period of time, but then will that not send a signal that we are not listening to you? One thing. Second thing is that we are biased and maybe we're siding the other side by not letting you talk.
I'm not asking you to stop the person at all. I didn't say that.
I didn't get the concept right. I'm really sorry.
Okay. You see, how you stop the person from repeating or going on and on is by summarizing. See, let's say the person has said something. Is the reason why people repeat? Because they don't know really if you understood what they are wanting to tell you.
Okay.
So all you have to do is go back to them and say, look, ma'am, let me understand. This is what you are trying to tell me. Have I understood you correctly? If you have understood that person correctly, he will stop. He will not repeat. If you have not understood him correctly, he will correct you.
Okay.
And once he corrects you, he will not repeat again. And let's say it is becoming too lengthy because you have to hear the other side too. All you have to do is, ma'am, on whatever you told me so far, can I go to the other side and come back to you? Take their permission. You see, I am not to be in the position of authority. I have to respect the person who's coming there. And they say respect begets respect. If
Yeah.
I use authority, children, why do they react? Because every time they are lectured at. I'm telling you because I am elder to you. So I know what is right. And they're so used to hearing that. And if you do the same thing, so therefore, when these people come, and if you do the same thing to them, I'm going to tell you what is right or wrong. They will never feel understood that, somebody is trying to understand them. You're imposing your own point of view. And this is what people don't want. And especially people who are in, distress. People who come to you in a conflict situation are already grieving. And, Dabda, Hindu talked about. So they will be in one of those, stages. Either they are in the denial mode. They mostly they are in the, and then why me? Why does it happen to me? Then they will start bargaining with you. They are coming in that frame of mind. So you need to understand where they are and then ultimately deal with that situation. And one of the most important techniques is the communication technique. See, in mediation, we will be dealing with two techniques, which are very, very important. One is the process. I must know the nuances of the process. You've already been told about the process. You've done your opening statement. You've practiced it. See how difficult or different it is when you hear and when you do it on your own. That's experiential. So therefore, we've done that particular part. Now there are two very, very important elements. One is negotiation and one is communication. Now, the simplest form of, the definition of negotiation is a to and fro communication with the desire to achieve a goal. Main thing, main definition of mediation is assisted negotiation. Negotiation is something which parties must do between themselves. But unfortunately, beyond a point, they are not able to take the conversation forward, the communication forward. So you need assistance of a third neutral party, and that's the mediator. But the essence of negotiation is communication. Unless we communicate, how do we negotiate? Therefore, the negotiation chapter is later. We are now dealing with communication. Now, can we have the PPTs? Let's go to the next one. So, as it is put, first stage in the process of mediation is introductions. And the second important stage is communication. Once you communicate, then you get into a problem-solving mode or negotiation. And then ultimately, it results into an agreement or no agreement. And then please remember this. Mediation is a process. The process never fails. It is parties who fail. If there is no settlement, it is parties who have failed to arrive at a settlement. And even parties come back 6 months later. Sometimes parties go back to court. 6 months later, they may be referred back to you again. And at times, for once, twice, thrice, the matters have been referred back and parties are later settled. So therefore, mediation process never fails. It's parties who fail. And your role as a mediator is not only to bring about settlement, but a closure to the dispute. And that can only happen if you empower parties. And parties can take charge of their own dispute. See, mostly problem is parties are not, because see, most of us, why are we avoiders in life? Whenever we are in a conflict situation, we tend to avoid because we don't have the skills. And neither we have role models to follow. Who do we follow? Who do we watch? And then, mirror. So therefore, parties are in a conflict situation, or in an impasse situation when they come in conflict, is because they don't have the necessary skills to negotiate between themselves. And therefore, they need assistance. Now, the second in the process is communication. Let's go to the next slide. Now, there are various kinds of communication we talked about. Ganda has already told about some of them. So here I am going to deal with verbal communication. We talked about body language, we talked about silence. They all communicate. Now we are going to talk about verbal communication. The first in the line of verbal communication is the statement. Parties come and make their statement. That's how you gather information. Second is restatement. You see, how do you let the parties know that you actually understood? Is to restate what they have said. But if I restate everything that they say, it will be too long. And that is where there will be another tool, which you see on your slide. I'll come to that a little later. So therefore, after statement, parties have made statement, you restate in the nearly the same words what the parties use. Then comes acknowledgement. Now, what do we understand by acknowledgement? When parties are saying something, or when somebody says something to you, how do you acknowledge?
By verbally saying that you've understood what they're saying and saying, yes, I get your point.
Yes. Or when somebody's done a good job, you say, good job done. You acknowledge the work done by the other side. Basically, acknowledgement strengthens the speaker's foundation. So one way is to tell the person, understood, good, if the person is describing you that, he's been really honestly pursuing his remedies, he's been, very honest about and forthright about how things should move, what is he looking at. One way is to say, fine, I appreciate your honesty. Another way of acknowledging is, I can see a person who consistently takes honest stands, and let me tell you, it's not easy. By saying something like this, what are you doing?
Encouraging the other person to keep up the good behavior that they have done.
You have celebrated the person's inner strength. One is to say, job well done, you've done a good job, you've done this. And secondly is to, that quality which he exhibits. If you acknowledge that quality, like honesty, like a person who does a good job, I appreciate your commitment to what you've done. That acknowledges the person's inner strength, makes him work much more. Good job done is like, everybody will say that. I mean, that's what he expects you to say. But if you say, I like the commitment, your commitment to the job, it changes the whole meaning. So therefore, the communication techniques that we are talking about, that's why we call them life skills. If you talk to your child, if you talk to a person who comes to you, who actually does something good for you, if you acknowledge that inner strength, the character of that person which he exhibits, it goes a long way. And they will be more resourceful in future. Because you have made them recognize, you have illuminated some truth in them, which maybe they don't even know. See, most of us are very humble. I may be doing a good job. No, sir, that I've done. I mean, that was my duty. I mean, that's the kind of reaction that you'll find. But when you tell that person, look, I love that, I appreciate that commitment that you showed to the world, that you are demonstrating his some inner ability which maybe is not even, you are illustrating that which he was not even aware of. So this is what we mean acknowledgement here. Appreciate the person's strength, whichever he's demonstrated, and it makes that person go a long way in improving his work. Now, summarizing. Now, summarizing has very, very important aspects. Paraphrasing or summarizing is like, what we did in our school, Plessy writing. So what you need to do is a paragraph you have to reduce. I mean, he's told you a long paragraph about what the whole incident is. You ask the person when he comes to you, what brings you here? He'll tell you a whole lot of story. It's starting from the day one till now, this happened, that happened. So when you summarize, you take the gist out of that particular, whatever he's told you. It serves two purposes, which I have already said. One, it helps the person feel that he's been understood. And the second important part it demonstrates is that if he feels that you've not understood, he will correct you. And the third important part of summarizing, you see, if you remember in the opening statement, I said when you do a joint statement, joint session, you ask party A, please tell your story or your facts, whatever you wish to tell us, what brings you here. When you summarize, the other person gets an opportunity. See, as I said, the adult attention span is not more than 7 minutes. So when you summarize, the opposite side, he may not have heard the entire story, may not have registered in his mind as to what is he trying to convey. Your summarizing will give an opportunity to the other side to hear those important part once again. So summarizing is also a part of active listening. As we go along, I'll tell you a little more about active listening. So therefore, summarizing is a very, very important part in case if you want the parties to feel that they are understood and they don't repeat themselves. The next is reframing. The very word reframing means put the different frame, reframe a picture, reframe the picture. What does it do? See, let me give you an example. You'll find people when they come to you in the state of conflict, they will complain. And the example is, rose bushes have thorns. And if I was to reframe it, I'll say thorns, between thorns there are roses. Am I not saying the same thing? But I have removed that negative sting. We so often use that word, kill two birds with one stone. And if I was to rephrase it, I want to convey the same meaning. I'll say, this key opens two locks. Am I not saying the same thing? So reframing itself is an art. Now, reframing does 4 things. It removes the negative part of the statement to positive. We'll be doing an exercise on reframing a little later. So we just note the 4 aspects important which relate to reframing. Remove negative sting, make negative to positive. Shift parties from positions to interest. Shift parties from positions to interest, remove negativity to positivity. Shift parties from past to future. And the 4th is, it, focuses the attention from the person spoken to the speaker, the person who's being attacked to the speaker. We focus the attention, we divert the attention from the person being attacked to the speaker. So it serves 4 elements in when you do reframing of a sentence. We'll deal with that. We'll give you some exercise and I'll do that exercise along with you. The next important verbal communication is reflecting. I told you human beings are emotion machines. We are full of emotions. And when parties are in a conflict, they are not able to come out of the emotional trauma. And the result being, you are not able to actually reach the real problem, the real dispute, the substance of the dispute. Why? Because it is clouded or surrounded by emotions. And therefore, you have to reflect the emotion. I understand you are feeling frustrated. I understand honesty is very important to you. When the woman says that, he's a liar, he keeps, telling me all kinds of wrong things. He never says the right thing. So how do you reframe it? Ma'am, I understand. For you, honesty is very important. So reflect that feeling. You are frustrated, you are upset, you are angry. Because why did this happen to you? Unless you reflect that feeling, it's like reflection is like a mirror. So whatever they are feeling, you need to reflect. And remember that if you are not able to actually get the right feeling, they will correct you. And that's where the realization sets in, that maybe I'm really demonstrating that I'm being very angry with that situation. Or you can use a simple language. I can understand how you feel. If you are not able to, to put your finger on the real emotion that the person is trying to express, I can understand your feelings. Because unless you remove the outer layer of feelings, you will never reach the substance of dispute. Because parties will not rationalize unless they are, over with their emotions. Because then that rationality doesn't sink in at all. Because that cognitive part of your brain gets disconnected completely once you are angry. And they say, you will make the best speech ever that you will regret when you are angry. So people don't rationalize, people don't reason when they are emotional. So we need to first let them vent. That's why the venting becomes so important. But within limits. If they start using expressions which are designed to hurt or upset the other side, that's where you come in with your agreement. That, ma'am, sir, we agreed. Let's not use expressions. We will not use expressions which hurt, which are not appropriate. And that's the way to control it. Instead of telling them, don't do it. See, they are not, sometimes they don't do it deliberately, but they are lost in their own story. That emotional trauma is not getting over. So therefore, venting is important, but within reasonable limits. And then comes active listening. Now, first of all, is there a difference between hearing and listening?
Hearing is
There
done by
is
listening is done by the mind.
Okay.
interpreting hearing and coming to a conclusion or understanding hearing is listening.
Yes. We incorrectly assume that because we hear, we listen. Hearing is a physiological phenomenon. If your ears process sound, you hear. And listening, however, is an active psychological and physical process. And it requires effort, skill, and most importantly, training. Sonu? You're muted.
It is only the ears, but listening would involve all the other senses, like seeing, the sense of touch, multiple senses.
See, this is why when I come to the next slide, I'll come to why is listening so difficult? It looks so simple listening to a person, but we don't. We need training. Why do we need to be trained to listen? See, now let me combine this with the biological phenomena. So a stimuli reaches the human processing unit, that is your cerebral cortex in the brain. So this stimuli will recede so that we can concentrate on either the verbal or the visual symbol which has come to us. Now this is where the attention gets divided into what we are attempting to listen, then what is happening around us. See, if I'm sitting in a restaurant or a disco thing, listening will become more and more difficult because of the surrounding. And the third reason why listening becomes difficult is your mind chatter. There is so much going on in your mind when these signals are coming to you that it makes listening all the more difficult. Divided attention. Your attention gets divided. They say, the studies show that a person can speak 125 to 150 words in a minute, while the brain can receive or understand 500 words in a minute. So what happens? There is a gap between the spoken word and your mind's reception. And therefore, that gap is filled in with the information and thoughts, which makes listening difficult. As I said, your mind chatter, all that will come in. Now, first step in listening, Sonu, now I'm coming to what you are saying. Let's go to the next one. Is awareness. First step is awareness. So, what is the information that we receive? Now we are talking about verbal. What we hear with our ears or see with our eyes. These are happening simultaneously. And as you said, we also at the same time listen with all our senses. We hear, we see, and experience sounds, words, images, feelings, and energy. Look at what is happening when a stimuli comes to us. It's just not words. We notice the pace of delivery. We talked about communication. I think Gandha told you 7% of communication is spoken words. 48% is body language. Demeanor, sorry, and 55% is demeanor. Now, demeanor is what we call paraverbal, and that is where your pacing, your tone of voice, where you pause, can make all the difference. Sometimes same words conveyed, but at a different pause can convey a different meaning. And that's why do communication errors happen? Because what we intend to convey is sometimes not conveyed. We use the same words, And you'll see how does the conversation go. I didn't say this, but you said it. But I did not mean it. And this, when concentration is only on words, this is what happens. But why is the listening difficult? Because you are also actually communicating through your senses at the simultaneously. And they convey different meanings. My words may say something different. I have all the time for you, but I just look at my watch. I'm saying, man, go ahead. I have all the time for you. The moment I glance at my watch, what am I conveying? And they always say, if there is a dissonance between words and the body language, believe the body language. And that is why so much of importance. 7% only words. Rest is all your body language and your paraverbal communication, the demeanor. So there are 3 stages of listening. Now let me explain these stages to you. The first is when listening is all about you, all about your needs, all about what it means to you. See, when somebody is communicating with you, you are actually with your own biases, with your own perceptions, thinking about what does it mean to you. It's not about the other person. Let me take you to an example. You go to a restaurant and you walk in with your, the most loved person, your husband or your girlfriend. The first time what you see, when you walk into a restaurant is, what is the ambience? Where to sit? What is the menu? Can I afford the menu? What is to be ordered? Which is the right place to sit? All this is about you, not about the other person who's with you. I mean, your most beloved person is with you, but it's all about you when you walk in. That's the first level of thinking when listening, when it's only concerned about your thoughts, about what it means to you. Now, let's take this to a next level of listening. The waiter has taken the order and receded. The menu has receded. Now you have this person across, sitting on the table. And what happens? You are leaning forward with the other person. You are trying to listen to everything that is being said. And this is the time when you are telling the other person, I have the time for you. You mean everything to me. And these two lovers will be so engrossed into each other that they will not notice anything that is happening around. This is the second level of listening. When the other person is more important than your own thoughts. You suspend your own thoughts. You tell them, okay, I'll think about everything else later. But everything that person who's sitting across matters to you. That's the level of thinking that we talk about, or listening that we talk about when you are in a mediation. And let me tell you, whether you are actually doing listening or not can be easily demonstrated, whether it's a pseudo listening or you are really listening. It was beautifully explained through an example. This family brought fishes. They had a fish tank. So they brought some new fishes, and this mother and the daughter were sitting. And the new fishes were put into the water. And the mother was observing whether, these new fishes get along with those fishes which were already there. And the daughter was at the same time talking to the mother. After a while, the daughter stops the mother, takes her hand into her face and says, Mom, when you listen to me, please look at me. So if you are really not listening, the other person can actually, see that. So we need, in mediation, listening in the level of level 2, not the level 1, where it's all about me, whether I've had, you're thinking, did I get my lunch properly? Has my lunch come? Has my, as doctors, you would be thinking, let's say you are in a conflict situation, you're sitting in mediation, and you're talking about, has the patient been taken care of? Did somebody go there? You will have so many other thoughts going into your mind, because the first level of listening is all about you. You are really not listening to the other person. And the third level of listening is what actors, and leaders and people who give speeches, or people who are performers, they have that level of listening. And that is, when you're making a presentation, let's say you're making a presentation and you walk into a room, your senses, your intuition will tell you whether you're in a hostile atmosphere, whether you are being received well. That's your intuition. You need to have that antenna where you can receive those messages. And therefore, you have to develop that intuition. And that intuition will come at the level 4. When we talked about learning skills, unconscious competence. When you don't have to concentrate on, am I doing things right? What am I supposed to say? See, because, this is where we talk about, there are two kinds of visions you have, when you enter a room. Either you can have a tunnel vision, which is, you concentrate only what you see here. Or you can have a parallel vision. So it's up to you. But all that comes to you with practice. So third level of listening is when you actually use your intuition. And that's a skill which most leaders, most actors, most presenters have. They can sense. So from listening, we now need to go to a term which is called active listening. Now, in active listening, you pay attention to the spoken words, body language, demeanor, and context of the communication. Now, what does this word mean to you? Context of communication.
So whether we are on the same point, understanding the same point in the same sense, that is the context. A statement taken with what actually is around. It's like when that statement is not taken out of the situation and interpreted. It is taken. That statement is interpreted in relation to that to the situation that we are discussing at this point of time. That means you have been a part of this conversation, listening to what has been said.
Deepa, a good attempt. Let me take you to a different scenario. See, when we are communicating with any person who is in conflict or anyone who's actually communicating with us, our attention, when I said words, is mostly to the content of the words spoken or communication which is happening. You are actually trying to understand what is he saying. What is he, so it's the content we concentrate on. What happened at that particular time? Who was there? Who all were there? Did the nurse actually do that? We don't actually concentrate on the context. The context is, where is this person coming from? What has hurt him? What is he really looking at? What is he really wanting? You see, that is where, when people say things to you, they are taking positions. And I have to reach the interest of the person. And therefore, your questioning skills become here important to take the person from positions to interest, from content of what is being said to the context. What brings him here? What is he upset about? What does he really want? Those are the questions which should go on in your mind. Instead of, see, because mostly content is repetition. You rightly said that. I mean, you people have said they'll be repeating themselves. Mostly content will be venting. Mostly content will be revenge. Content will be ego. My ego is hurt. I have to concentrate on the context of the communication. From where is he coming? Ask yourself question. Why is he saying something like this? So these why questions, what questions are the most important questions in communication so far as mediation or negotiation is concerned? When a person comes and says, this is what I want, the next question should be, why is that important to you? Or what is it that you really want? What is important here for you? Why is it important for you? Parties open up, and then, this is what I call unlayering an onion. Remember, most of you, at least the women know, I mean, I don't know, the men also do that. You peel an onion, you unlayer it one by one. Correct? And then come to the core. And that is what questioning skills you need to have is first question, what is important to you? Next question, why is it important to you? Now, I'll give it to you with a very simple example and you'll understand how does this unlayering work. This, partner goes to the senior partner in the firm and says, sir, I want to leave the firm. So obviously the partner says, what happened? The senior partner asked him what happened. He says, look, the salary that you are actually, I'm getting, or the commission that I get is not enough. So the senior partner says, but that's the same salary everybody is getting. We have not had a raise. So why is it that you need more money? He says, actually, I'm staying in a 2-bedroom apartment. And my mother-in-law also stays with us. And my wife is now expecting a baby. And we need a 3-bedroom apartment. And I can't do with this salary that I'm getting. So what happened? The first statement was, I want to leave the firm. Where does it reach to? I need a 3-bedroom apartment, and that's my present salary is not commensurate with what a 3-bedroom apartment is going to cost me in terms of rent. And what did they do? They hunted for an apartment which they can get for him in the same locality, maybe a less posh building, or into another locality, and the partner continued with the firm for next 10 years. What did they do? They unlayered the position that the person took by asking what questions, why question, why do you need the money? What is that is bothering you? Why are you not happy with the salary? So you have to keep asking questions till you come to the core of the issue. And therefore, you can only come to the context of the communication if you ask these questions. And we will tell you, I'm going to tell, we have a slide, and if she's not shared, what are the kind of questions to be asked for this particular purpose? What are, we've shared those, and we will again share, I'll ask Kanda to share those questions with you. So therefore, it is important to understand the questioning skills are important for purposes of communication. And sometimes wrong question asked can bring about an impasse where Now remember the question what I was saying, that when you said, Sonu, when you ask such questions, if they are cross-examination, they will put the parties on defensive. That you are not believing what I am saying, or you feel that I am the one who's wrong. And therefore, when you put those questions, they will not open up. They will get into a defensive mode. And therefore, the trust-building questions are help me understand. I'm curious to know, why are you feeling this way? Am I correct in understanding you like this? See, always giving that party an opportunity so that they can express themselves. Whole purpose of listening is to make parties feel that they have been understood. They will forgive you for everything else. You may wrongly understand what they are trying to communicate, but they would not forgive you if you are not able to understand them completely or fully. They will not move, they will not trust you. And therefore, your questioning skills in communication, so far as mediation is concerned, are totally different than any other form of judicial intervention. Acknowledges, I talked about the acknowledgement. You must acknowledge. And control inner voices and judgments. You will have judgments, like, as we talked about neutrality, it's very easy to say. Nobody is neutral. I may say I'm neutral, I'll try and help you equally. But I do get my own biases and prejudices and perceptions interfering all the time when something is being told to me, when they tell me their stories. Now, what is it? How do you control your inner voices and judgments? Is by taking a step back and saying, this is their dispute. They have to find a solution. It doesn't concern me. And therefore, you must, at that stage, take a step back and suspend your judgment. About whatever you may think about the person, you feel that the person is not saying the correct things, or like, taking hard positions, not being reasonable. Those are your own judgments. Suspend them. Listen to the other person. And let me tell you, once you listen, first of all, 80%, that anger, 80% of the anger will be dissipated by the time they have told their whole story. And then 20% is where you sit down and rationalize with them. Let's work it out. Let's ensure how this thing will not be repeated in future. Let's, parties are not looking, a patient, a person accompanying the patient is not looking for punishment to the nurse, but that their patient should be treated well. So all you have to tell them, look, we will ensure that this is not repeated. We'll ensure that this, this will be done. We'll add an attendant to your person. That's all that is looking for. And the dispute can be dissipated at that stage. So we must now, this, we have tried to, I have one word, the easiest way to remember things are by acronyms. As I told you about BODMAS, we read that in school, but we still don't forget it. Bracket off, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. We still remember, right? This one word, RASA, R-A-S-A, for active listening. R stands for receive information. A stands for acknowledge. And here acknowledgement would be nodding your head. Okay, I hear you. Because you can't, when somebody is communicating to you, you can't be stone-faced. So therefore, nodding, small, okay. And S stands for summarize. Receive information, acknowledge, summarize, and A stands for ask questions. Because that's the only way party will feel satisfied that you have really understood. That these are the ingredients of active listening. Let's see the next slide. Now, why is it so hard to listen? First, mind chatter. At the time when I'm trying to listen to somebody, there's so much going in my mind, which I'm not able to control. And it will keep interfering. Then first listen to yourself. Take a moment to know where you are. See, for most of us, we are part-time mediators. So I'm in court, being in an adversarial mode, and I'm, 4 o'clock, I have a mediation fixed up. I run back from there, sit down as a mediator, while all the time my mind is somewhere else. You as a doctor, I mean, you would not be mediating the whole day. I mean, you have to acquire these skills, and maybe like you are asked to actually go and diffuse the situation. You have done your work. You are actually come seeing some patients, and suddenly you are asked to mediate. Will your mind be there? You have to first quieten your mind and forget about what happened. I mean, we get sometimes jhara from the court because of the client, he's not told us the truth, or sometimes whatever. So I'm in a bad mood. And here I come and I am like, trying to be nice, be neutral, be receptive, listen. How is that going to happen if my mind is somewhere else and I'm upset? So I have to quieten my mind. I have to know where I am today. Now I'm in a mediator's chair. I'm wearing a different hat. So you have to switch roles. Divided attention makes it difficult to receive signals or messages. I told you why does division happen in signals or messages? Surroundings. And therefore, our rooms, if you come and see our mediation rooms, they are colorful. They're like any 5-star, conference room. We have paintings on the walls. We have colored, it's not a gray and black and white what you see in court. So your mediation room must be different. Your environment makes all the difference. And the most important part is there is a lot behind what is being said, what is not said. When a party, is expressing anger, he ruined my life, so I'm going to ruin his. Now, where is she coming from? There's so much of hurt. As I said, context. Look at the context from where she's coming from. The statement is, I'm going to ruin his life. He's ruined my life, I'll ruin his life. But what is really, really troubling that lady is the hurt that she's been, gathering for over a period of time. So when people come and express their emotions, there are a lot of things which they will tell you. And there will be a lot of things behind that which you have to gather, which is not being said. You come home and you find a husband or wife in a bad mood. You left them in the morning and they were fine. And mood is, food is laid. Yes, khana tayar hai, go and have the food. I mean, so you sense there is something which has gone wrong. And what really happened was you forgot her or his birthday to wish him. So what is being expressed, what is not being said, you have to reach what is not being said. If you can reach that, a lot of times people are not expressive, you see. And how do you get it? There are 3 ways of getting everything out of a person. And that is, first is, help me understand what is that you are trying to tell. What brings you here? Help me understand. Summarize if you have understood. Next question is there something more that you want to tell? Why? Because not that parties are trying to hide something from you, but there are times when parties are not very expressive. So after they have told their story, your next question should be, is there something else that you would like to tell me? And after they have told you some more facts, the last question to ask is that all? This is the only, so therefore I'm saying your questioning skills will get you information which you really want. Just think about it. I'll be back in a minute. Just come back in a minute. Does it make sense to you, whatever I've told you? How to squeeze every bit of information out of the other side? I mean, the party who's trying to give you information. First sentence, tell me what brings you here. Summarize, have I understood you? Help me understand. Second, is there something more that you would like to tell me? There's something, and the last, is that all? Okay, let's go to the next one. Advantages of listening. It helps to understand others. Remember that word of that man, two people walking in the park, where he says, I don't understand my son, he just doesn't listen to me. And this man replies, I thought to understand someone, you need to listen to them. So it helps us to understand others, it helps to connect with others. Mirroring, if you listen to somebody, he will listen to you. Helps others to listen to us. Golden key which opens up the doors of relationship. And the most important thing in mediation or negotiation is about preserving relationship. You know, whether it's patients, whether it's the staff that you're working with, the colleagues that you're working with, that the working staff, your suppliers, you have a certain relationship with each other. And to maintain that relationship, you need to practice listening. That's the most important part. Okay, let's see the next picture. Yesterday when it was being said, there are two beautiful saying that I'm sure you must have heard. God has given us one mouth but 2 ears. Listen more, speak less. Eyes are watching, ears are listening, lips are closed, hands are still, feet are quiet. Most of us have this habit of, and let me tell you, this body language gives you away. There are so many signals, your nervousness. You put your hand in your mouth, you scratch all these things are giveaways that you're nervous. That's why I said, believe body language more than the words when there is incongruence or dissonance. Let's see the next one. Yeah, there's a little exercise on listening. Now, just I'll read it out to you, and then we will take it off the screen. So I'm going to go slow. Now listen to this exercise. A metro train leaves Noida station with 3 passengers and stops at Mayur Vihar, where 5 more passengers get on. It next stops at Akshardham, where 2 passengers get off. Next stop is Pragati Maidan, where 23 passengers get on board. The train makes its next stop at Rajiv Chowk, where 21 get off and no one gets on. The train moves ahead until it reaches Paharganj, where 3 more passengers get on. The next stop is Karol Bagh, where 6 get on and 4 get off. At Patel Nagar, no one gets on or off. And at Rajendra Nagar, 24 passengers get on board. The train reaches the end of the route at Moti Nagar, where everyone gets off. Is the passage clear? Okay. Now, can you tell me how many stops were there?
10 stops.
That's great. Were you concentrating on the stops or were you concentrating on the passengers?
Both.
Both. What about the others?
Both. I was concentrating on both and noting it down when you say.
Okay, but most of us are framing answers without hearing the question. And that is why our concentration, the way the exercise is framed, we concentrate more on the passengers. And this is how we listen to people. Remember the first day, Dr. Subodh, when you are prescribing, when you are asking questions to a patient, you are asking questions with the whole intention of what answers that you are expecting. Did this happen to you? Were you feeling feverish? No, because you are not listening to the patient's voice, but what you are trying to see is by hit and trial from your own experience, trying to find out what is the issue and what is the solution. And most of us do that. We don't listen. And therefore, we have crafted our answer without listening to the question. Let's see the next exercise. One rabbit saw 6 elephants while going to the river. every elephant saw two monkeys going towards the river. Every monkey holds one parrot in their hands. Very simple. 3 sentences. Now, switch it off, Mrinalini. How many animals were going towards the river?
Six
11?
elephants.
Only 6, I think.
6 elephants.
6 elephants.
Okay. Anybody else? So we have 6 and 11. Kamakshi, Mrinalini.
I don't think I'd be the right person to give
You
the
want to
answer.
know, you want to know the number of animals or the type of animals?
Number of animals going towards the river.
Just 6 only.
That is the elephant only initially.
Okay, let me take you back to the exercise, and now you can
I
concentrate.
think rabbit also is there.
No, just yeah.
One
One
rabbit
rabbit saw 6 elephants while going to the river. So who was going to the river?
rabbit.
Elephants.
The rabbit.
Rabbit.
The rabbit saw 6 elephants. He saw 6 elephants while going to the river. Every elephant saw 2 monkeys going towards the river. So the elephants were standing, the 2 monkeys were going to the river.
3.
There you are. Every monkey holds one parrot in their hands. So wasn't the parrot also going?
Oh no, not going. Only 3 animals going. Every elephant
There you
saw.
are. Parrot is not an animal. See, question is, are we really listening? And imagine, this is a small narration of 3 sentences. When parties come to you, they give you a whole lot of information. All kinds of things they are going to be telling you. So how much registers in your mind? Are you really listening? And therefore, important thing of summarizing. I keep on repeating summarizing. It's so important. You saw it in Rasa. And summarizing is so important because that's the only way you will test your own memory. And this is where again note taking becomes very important. You just can't be listening to somebody without making short notes. Don't make too copious notes because then you will lose eye contact. You have to make short notes because then that's the only way you will be able to summarize. You can just note the important points. Then summarize it for the parties because unless you summarize, you will really not be, able to do active listening. And this is where, when you summarize the importance of, when I said we now went back to the sentence and you now came with answer of 3 animals, that the party will correct you. Sir, no, not 6, not 11. I'm talking about 3 animals. And that is the only time when the party will be satisfied that you really understood. And therefore, importance of receiving information, acknowledging, summarizing, and asking questions. Okay, let's now go to summarizing again. I've already told you a little about summarizing. Now let's go. How do we do it? Summarizing involves reflecting back to the speaker the essence of communication. Therefore, I said not very copious notes, only the important aspect. See, lot will be said. There will be only 2 sentences or 2 points which are most important there. How do you get those 2 important points? So you reflect back or you reframe and speak back the same 2 sentences to the speaker out of the whole paragraph. In order to summarize, a mediator must focus carefully on the message. Not the content, but the context. Content is only summarized for purposes of party satisfaction. But if you want to reach a solution, those are your why questions and what questions which must be answered in your mind by asking the parties, what is troubling him? Why does he want this? What is upsetting him? Where is he coming from? What is the context? What is behind it? These are the questions which are the most important in communication, in mediation. And summarizing, you need to focus on those questions. Let's go next. So summarizing tips, be concise and accurate. As I said, if you are not accurate, they will correct you. So that now your summary should be perfect. Choose your words carefully. See, you can't use the same. Sometimes they say, like, you know, as I said, he's ruined my life. You can't say in your summary, I understand that he's ruined your life. I understand you're very upset about how things have happened in the past. You're not to use the same words. And this is where reframing will come in. We'll do a little bit of reframing exercise after it. Omit blame. He's done this to me. It's not important. You are upset about how you were treated. Nobody came to see me at the airport. You know, I was waiting at the airport. So you're upset that nobody came to receive you. He did not come. So what is upsetting him? Nobody came to receive. It's not he which is important. So omit blame. Leave your judgment when you are summarizing. A lot of things will, as I said, neutrality means your own perceptions, your own judgments you need to suspend. They will keep coming back to you. You know, when we talk of power imbalance, we talked about the other day. There are times a workman and general manager on the same table. You may feel that the workman is not empowered enough to deal with the general manager, but you never know. The workman is actually a union leader. The man knows more about how to, you know, in personal relationship than even the general manager. He knows more ins and out of the company than the general manager does, because general manager is posted now. So merely because he's a general manager, don't be, you know, in your own mind have that judgment that the workman is actually the weaker party. No. The daughter-in-law is the weaker party, father-in-law is the stronger one. No. You have to suspend these judgments. Don't carry these judgments with you, because they will keep interfering in your questioning skills. You have to remain neutral throughout, because the parties can sense it. You know, if a woman starts crying that this is how the man treated me, you know, he used to beat the child, he used to beat me, you know, he used to beat me blue, and then she starts crying. And you offer your handkerchief to her. You're finished. Mediation is over. Your neutrality is sacrificed. You can offer the person a glass of water. Would you like to have a glass of water? That's different. But you can't take out your handkerchief and give it to the woman. So therefore, please suspend your judgment when you are hearing, listening to parties, when their statements are coming, when their parties are describing their, you know, what happened, their facts. You need to, at that stage, suspend your own judgment as to how you feel about the whole situation. It's not your dispute, it is party's dispute. As a facilitator, you only have to facilitate communication. Because the biggest casualty in mediation, you know, when parties come in, when they're in a conflict situation, is the communication breaks down. Parties stop talking to each other. And therefore, your main role as a mediator is to establish communication. When parties come to you, they talk through you. You know, they will be, each one will address you. And your biggest challenge is how do you make them address each other? Once you have succeeded, let me tell you, 80% of the mediation is over, negotiation is over. They will themselves find that 20% solution. establish communication between them. So leave your judgment, be neutral. Easily said than done, but you have to remain neutral throughout the process. Ask if you are correct. Have I understood you correctly? Is that right? How I am able to understand? Because that's the time parties will correct you if you have not really understood that. And understanding is the main purpose of listening, is to understand parties' perceptions. Let's go to the next one. Reasons to summarize. I've already told you some, so we can look at all of them. It allows parties to feel heard, encourages parties that progress has been made. You see, when you keep summarizing, they feel, okay, this much the mediator has understood, whatever I wanted to say. So they will go to the next stage. They will tell you something different. So therefore, you keep emphasizing that you are making progress as you go along. Because otherwise they'll be rooted into their position. So you see there are stages in the mediation process. You have to start from information gathering, come to setting the agenda, then work out on the options and the interests of the parties, choose the options, and then finally look to a settlement or no settlement. So therefore, how would parties know? How would the parties move to the next stage if they still feel that the mediator has not really understood what they're trying to tell? So it encourages parties to make progress and move on further. Then it helps you to transition to a new topic. They will not repeat. They will not go on talking the same thing like a stuck record. They will shift. They now know that, what I'm trying to say, the mediator has understood. Let me now tell something different. So they'll shift to a new topic, which they are wanting to tell you. It prevents repetition. The biggest problem that you said you face, that you can't stop parties from going on talking. Summarizing will prevent repetition, and it also allows correction. When understanding is not accurate, you will be corrected. Now, let's see the next one. Now, restating, we talked about that. The purpose is to restate the statement of the speaker using key or similar words or phrases to ensure that he has been accurately heard and understood by the speaker. We've given you a very simple sentence. The words are nearly the same. Purpose of restating is so that the statement made by the party then feel that you have understood. So that's one way of doing it. A small statement said, you can restate. Like, let's see the example. I've not been getting time to play golf, and that has led to several disputes. No, husband-wife dispute. Husband wants to play golf and the wife is always, the one term they talk about wives of golfers, which is, and my wife didn't like it when she was told about this, is golfing widows. Because the amount of time that is spent on the golf course, sometimes it really irks the woman at the house. So restatement, several disputes have arisen because you're not getting time to play golf. It's the same thing said in similar words or different words, but question being the essence remains the same. Now let's look at the next one. This is the most important part, reframing. Now this is again an art. I told you a very simple example. Rose bushes have thorns. Between thorns, there are roses. Same thing, but you change the frame. So reframing is a communication technique used to help the parties to move from positions to interests and focus on problem solving and possible solutions. See, when you shift parties from their position, I want this. Now, why do you want this? Why is it so important to you? I must get custody of the children. Why is that so important to you? And she will give her reasons. So once those reasons or those interests are on the table, it makes things easier for you to move to solution. You know, I don't know whether I give that example of a MSCT case. You know, we have accident cases where there's a formula provided under the Act. How old was the man who died? How many people were dependent on him? What was his salary? What was his age, etc., etc. So all those formulas will lead you to what was the compensation which is payable by the insurance company or the owner. So let's say the figure is 20 lakhs. And during a private session, when you're having a private session with the widow, she says, sir, get me 10 lakhs, I want to settle the matter. So that's the position she's taken. You know, as per the formula, amount payable is 20 lakhs. Now, what will be your question? Ma'am, help me understand. Why do you, when you know that the amount payable under the, as per the contract or as per law is 20 lakhs, have you consulted your lawyer? Help me understand, why do you want to settle for 10 lakhs? And the woman says, look, I have 2 small children. And because the man is dead, I don't have money to educate them. And if I don't have the money to educate them, they will grow up to be urchins and or vagabonds. And in case, if I'm able to educate them, they will become helping hands for my old age. So 10 lakhs to me has more value than 20 lakhs after a contest. Now they are contesting, the license was not proper or valid. So many defenses that the insurance company will take. So therefore, that 10 lakhs to that woman paid today has more value than 20 lakhs after a contest after 10 years with interest, because she said that doesn't serve my purpose. So the interest of that particular woman or the widow is to actually educate her children, and that 10 lakhs paid today is more important. So the insurance company is very happy, because against 20 lakhs they are paying 10 lakhs. So positions always will not get you results in terms of resolving conflict. You need to reach the interests of the parties. It's only once the interests are identified that you will be in a better position to look at or work for solutions or options. Options are possible agreements. What can happen? What can arise in a case? So therefore, reframing helps you to move parties from positions to interests and focus on problem solving and possible solutions. It involves removal of charged and offensive words of the speaker. All these shopkeepers are rogues. They cheat you out of your hard-earned money by supplying you substandard goods or substandard houses. Now, this is the statement which is made before you. Now, how do you reframe it? Sir, if I understand, honesty in business dealings is more important to you. Honest and fair dealing in business is important to you. That's all that he's trying to say, that these are cheats, etc. He's using the word, but he expects the businessman to be honest, to be fair. I must get my money's worth. That's all that he's wanting to tell you. But look at the words used, are very offensive. So reframing will help you to remove those offensive words. Let's see the next. So present a thought so that it maintains its fundamental meaning. It can't change. The fundamental meaning should not change. The negative word, but the positive is, he's a liar. Honesty is important to you. Okay? So fundamentally, the meaning remains the same. I respect honesty. When a person says that he's a liar, he's telling you that I expect honesty in dealing. but in a way that it has less resistance and hostility. The goal of reframing is to develop a mutually acceptable definition of the problem. How do we do it? Well, this is jargon so far as the language, the mediation language is concerned. We'll do it. Let's go to the next one, and then maybe. Now, Kamakshi and Mrinalini, you can come in here. So now
Yes.
you are two siblings. Meenakshi, you can be Vaidehi, and Mrinalini is Rahul. So let's read the fact slowly so that everyone can understand. Meenakshi, one of you can do the read this part.
All right. So Vaidehi and
Kamakshi.
Rahul. Yes, I'll go ahead with the reading. Vaidehi and Rahul are siblings. Vaidehi is older than Rahul by 3 years. Since they were teenagers, Vaidehi and Rahul have worked at their parents' restaurant, Doon Bites, which is famous in Dehradun for having a unique and traditional taste in all its dishes. Doon Bites is highly ranked on Zomato, and visitors and locals alike love eating the exceptional cuisine of Doon Bites. Vaidehi, who is a talented cook, has worked at designing the menu and creating new dishes for the restaurant. Rahul, who is more business-minded, has always helped his parents with the accounting and making sure that the restaurant is making a profit.
The next page also completes the facts.
Vaidehi and Rahul's parents are aging and are looking to pass on Doon Bites to their children. However, Vaidehi and Rahul have very different views on the future of the restaurant. While Vaidehi loves the fact that Doon Bites has become an integral part of the Dehradun community and wants it to maintain its special status as a family restaurant, Rahul has larger plans for it and hopes to maximize its revenue potential by turning it into a franchise restaurant that has many branches all over Uttarakhand. Their parents support both the children equally and hope that Vaidehi and Rahul can resolve this issue amongst themselves, especially if they are to be business partners in the long run.
Are facts clear now to all of us? Or you would like once more to be read? Is it making sense to you? Because as we will practice reframing exercise. Should we read it again once? Because you must understand those facts. As we said, first important thing is to understand facts. They always say in law, when we when we argue in law, they say you can go wrong in law, but you can't go wrong in facts. So let's you can read it once for yourself if you want to. And then we'll go to the next page. Let read it a little slowly for yourself as. Clear? We can move to the second page. Okay. So with this particular outlook, now the children don't seem to see eye to eye with each other. One is more traditional, the other is outgoing, trying to get a franchise, move on. enlarge the business while some, the daughter, the sister wants to continue with the, the restaurant the way it is. And so there's a dispute now between the brother and sister, and this dispute is referred to a mediator. Now, there are some statements will be made before the mediator. Now, as a mediator, you need to reframe them. Now, how you would do it is an exercise which we need to do as we go along. Quickly, now let's go to the next page. Now, before the mediator, Kamakshi.
I can't believe that Rahul is willing to sell our family restaurant for just a couple of quick bucks. He doesn't care about the fact that we grew up watching our parents slave over Doon Bites, and he's willing to sell it all.
Now, an expression used. I remember 4 tips I told you. Move parties from positions to interest. Remove the offending part from positive to negative. Negative to, positive. Past to future. And the attention is from the person attacked to the speaker. These are 4 elements that you have to keep in mind, and then reframe it. How would you reframe it? Attempt it. You will realize in the beginning you find it difficult, but as you go along, it becomes easier and easier.
I noticed that Rahul is willing to sell the family restaurant, and that the restaurant grew up. You both grew up watching your parents build up this restaurant and developing a goodwill for the restaurant.
So Rahul is also sitting there, Dr. Sudhir.
Can I make an attempt?
So how will he feel? Deepa, for a minute, and then you do the attempt.
Yeah. So I would probably say that Vaidehi, it seems you are you want to preserve the legacy of your parents, and you find their legacy to be very important to you. Am I right?
Deepa, I really wonder, yeah, from where do you guys get this, so much of intelligence to, first time. I mean, I have found people find it very difficult first time in reframing. That's a very good attempt. See, there is no perfect way of reframing. There is no perfect. See what she has done. She's removed the negative part completely. She's referring to the speaker, not the person attacked. So she's referring to Vaidehi and saying, well, this is what is important to you. This is important to you means something which you would like in, not what has happened in the past, but something which you expect in future. Correct? Dr. Sudhir, you want to say something?
Yeah, I would like to frame it saying that you both have grown up with your parents, seeing them do hard work to bring Doon Bites up, and now you're finding it difficult that it will be sold out for you're trying to sell it out is something which is not coming in as a right thought.
Dr. Sudhir, this is the allegation she's making against Rahul.
Yeah.
Rahul is sitting there. So you're using again, like, you're seeing that it has been going to be sold out. How will Rahul feel about it?
I'm just trying to understand what Vaidehi is trying to say.
That's right. But remove the negativity out. So what is behind that? What is the context? What is she really wanting? Negative to positive.
Right.
And this is where Deepa came. Deepa, can you just repeat your words again?
Yeah, I mean, I would speak to Vaidehi and tell her that you want to preserve your parents' legacy and carry that forward. That is what you want this place to be in the future.
Let's see the example reframe that we have done, and then compare it with what you did right now, Deepa. Preserving the legacy of the restaurant, the sentimental value of the family restaurant is important to you. She doesn't see, we don't say the things about selling the restaurant, continuing with the legacy. These are positive expressions of what she's really wanting. Correct? So the reframe is positive, past to the future. Target is not the speaker. What Rahul is being talked about, you address the Vaidehi and remove the offending. Negative to positive. Let's see the next one, and you will see, Dr. Sudhir, it becomes easier. Okay, now Rahul Minali.
Yeah. I don't understand why Vaidehi is against expanding and making Dune Bites more expensive, more successful. Her mushy sentiments about retaining a family restaurants makes no sense whatsoever in today's harsh competitive reality in business. She's only hindering our success by being so emotional about this.
Attempt. Please, now.
The plan is to make expand the branches and expand the restaurant business.
Praveen, Praveen sir, you start with Rahul. Rahul, address Rahul and then say whatever you want to say.
Rahul, what I think is that our plan is to expand the restaurant business by adding number of branches or whatever we can. I mean, make no sense whatever in a harsh competitive market.
But see what all he said. Her mushy sentiments about retaining a family restaurant makes no sense whatsoever in today's harsh competitive reality in business. She's only hindering our success by being so emotional about this. Now, this is all negative things
So
being said
negative we
about
don't say na. We
Yeah,
as
so how do you
that
make
way-
it positive, sir?
Say Rahul says that his intention is to make the plan, or his intention is to expand the network of the restaurant.
Stop. ठीक है. If that is important to you, you can say, Rahul, expanding the restaurant business is important to you.
Yes.
This is what he is wanting to say. Rest of it is only tirade against Vedi,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Deepa, want to attempt again?
Yeah. Sir, I would probably say that Rahul, see, you want to take this family restaurant forward financially and make it into a bigger financial success, if I understand that right.
Okay.
Or we can add that you want to make a chain of restaurant.
So these are all positive things. I mean, I appreciate that. Dr. Sudeep, you want to say something?
Yeah, Rahul, do you intend to spread this family restaurant and taste to the other part of the cities or the other places?
This is something which maybe Vaidehi doesn't like, right? That expanding or going out, she wants to maintain that character of the restaurant in Dehradun. Everyone's attempt is as I said, there's no correct method. If you understand what you really are doing, that's good enough for me. Let's see how it was done here. Mediator reframes, Rahul. A practical approach when evaluating success of the family business is important to you. So instead of saying expansion, more branches, so what you feel is that we must take a practical approach when you think about the business, family business. Okay, let's see the next. Vaidehi?
Rahul only cares about making money and becoming rich. He's always making plans for the future on his own without even consulting me as his elder sister and co-worker in the business. For all you know, he has already plans to sell Dune Bites to big international chain of restaurants in complete disregard of my views on such an action.
So what is important to Vaidehi? Vaidehi?
Vaidehi, do you think, Vaidehi, the consultative process with your brother and you is an important aspect for you in this?
Very well said. So this is what she's complaining about. She says all kinds of things. All that she's complaining is I have not been consulted. So consulting me also is very important to me. Like, you know what, that is what she's looking at. Deepa?
Sir, Vaidehi, as I understand, you feel that your participation in decision making is very important to you.
I really
being
love
a-
that, Deepa. I really love that. Now see, let's see the next one. Let's see the reframe and you will see what you people have just said. Look at this. Vaidehi, cooperation and consultation, decision making in the business are important to you. You people use the same words.
In short, teamwork is important.
Yes, so I'm saying, so therefore I said, Praveen sir, there's no perfect reframe. So far as you understand, you can take out the essence and remove the negativity and make it positive. That's good enough. So if you use the words important to you, refer to the speaker, you will be able to get now whatever is inside, whatever you need to add. See, and all this said, you can put it in one sentence. And it's becoming easier and easier as you go along. Let's see the next one.
And this is to be put at the time of summary or immediately?
No. When let's say something like this is said at that heat of the moment.
Immediately we have to say, or
Yes,
we have to
reframe
conclude at
it.
the end.
Vaidehi, I feel this is so that Rahul doesn't get offended. See, with this statement, Rahul is going to take off. And this is what is happening. Now see the next sentence.
Should I go ahead?
Yes, go ahead.
Our parents are growing old, and Doonbites is not enough to support their retirement, as well as my sisters and my livelihood and future financial security. But all she cares about is not understanding that, and she keeps on dwelling on the past and our childhood at this restaurant.
Rahul, you think that our business should be financially strong enough to support our parents in their age of retirement? Am I right?
Okay.
See, it should take care of all the family, both the siblings plus parents at their retirement.
Yeah,
age.
I forgot to add that.
Okay. Sonu?
Rahul, from what I understand is that you are extremely concerned about your parents' future as they're growing old, and your sister's livelihood as well.
Okay.
Can I make an attempt?
Yes, Deepak.
So Rahul, you're concerned about the financial stability of your family and the growing financial needs, and you have a doubt whether this working model is going to support that.
Let's leave the last part out, Deepak. Just leave just the first part.
Okay. So you are concerned about the financial stability of the family.
There you are.
And the growing needs of the family as time passes.
There you are. I mean, it's getting simpler and simpler. Let's see the reframe. Rahul, securing the future financial interests of the family and the business are important to you. It's an art. If you get used to it, it's very simple. Otherwise, you keep struggling. Just make it positive. Take out the brunt by the person attacked to the speaker. Positions to interest, what is important to you? That's your interest. And negativity is removed. That's all that is required to be done. The opposite of what the person says about the other person. As I said, he's a cheat. Honesty is important to you. Okay, let's see the next one.
How can Rahul be so obstinate, irresponsible, and self-centered? He has such a big ego. All he wants to show is that he's the best business brain amongst his contemporaries and older businessmen of this area.
They all blame game now.
We could just leave this and pass by, because it's just blaming.
No, but how will you reframe that blame part?
So probably I would
Start with Vaidehi. What is important to Vaidehi? Now, what do you get out of this?
So Vaidehi, okay, sorry.
Try it. Anyone?
Vaidehi, I feel that your role in the business, in terms of your cooking skills and setting up the menus and all, is not being recognized.
Sonu, is there anything as such appearing in this tirade? She is blaming Rahul for being obstinate, irresponsible, self-centered. So what is her interest?
Vaidehi, we
Yeah.
understand that you have already mentioned that consulting and having your opinion being understood, his point is already taken.
Sir, I would probably remind her about the basic ground rules that we have set for this negotiation, saying that we are not going to be abusing each other.
Deepa, some kind of venting has to be permitted. You know, if you see this, these are words which flow from parties, but they are not, you know, of that kind of a character. Let's say if she said that he's a man of loose character or something, you know, then maybe like, you know, you could say, look, we agreed. But here what she's saying, that he's obstinate, irresponsible,
I would
he's
put it,
self-centered, he only thinks about himself.
so
But the words are offensive. But what is she trying to convey? That he's self-centered, he only thinks about himself, he's irresponsible, he's obstinate, he doesn't move.
can I put it as Vaidehi, you feel Rahul desires success at all costs?
Can I attempt?
Just 1 minute. Let come again,
Yeah.
Deepa.
Rahul, Vaidehi, do you feel if I get it right, you feel Rahul wants success at all costs, financial success at all costs?
This is not what she's saying.
But do you think she's jealous of him? The last line. Best business brain amongst his contemporaries, older business.
This is what, I mean, if you remember two children, let's have two children fighting. Just think about it. So all kinds of things are fly. What is really upsetting is what is there in the first sentence. The other sentence is basically a tirade.
So
He thinks
Vaidehi,
he's the best. He thinks that, you know, बहुत ज़्यादा अपने आप को समझता है. That's the kind of statement that is there in the second one. But what is actually upsetting her is he's obstinate, he's irresponsible and self-centered. How will you
Vaidehi,
make it into a positive?
Vaidehi, would do you think that Rahul should take you into confidence before he takes a decision for the building up of the business?
You have already said that consulting you is important to you, right?
Right.
But
Right.
Rahul should take means Rahul is not taking. So how will Rahul feel? That you are accusing Rahul that he's not taking.
Are you concerned that Rahul is not taking it?
But then that Rahul will not like, no?
Sir, can we say something like Rahul should be more responsible and more caring for everyone is what you want to say?
That means you're blaming Rahul.
Okay.
You can say the same words differently. You are on the track, Deepa.
Can you say that you both of them you sit down and try plan the strategy?
Sir, can I say that
You are getting the sense. I just want you to put it in one sentence. You're getting the sense.
you want
means
to
that now what means you sit down and plan your strategy so that your future is more bright.
Don't
Yes, I
go into so that. Don't go into so that. Simply that Vaidehi, it is important that both of you sit down and, you know, take business decisions.
Plan your strategy. Means that
Or plan your strategy. Stop at that. This is what Vaidehi is wanting. Deepa?
So can we say that so whatever Rahul, so whether you mean to say that whatever Rahul is doing is not enough and he should be more responsible and less and more caring about everyone?
Deepa, you were earlier on the right track. Now again, the moment you say this, Rahul will not like it. The blame on Rahul continues.
Vaidehi, we think that is why we both are here to take this call and take it forward.
But I want you to change the negative into positive. Now, there are 3 negative words there. Obstinate, irresponsible, self-centered. What is the opposite of that?
Flexible, responsible, and
Open-minded.
open-minded. Yeah.
There you are. So
But then
Vaidehi,
how to say it?
so you can say Vaidehi, these 3 qualities are very important to you while taking business decisions.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Let's see how it was done. Vaidehi, taking considerate and responsible business decisions are important to you. So you use other two words, nothing wrong in it. As I said, there is no perfect reframe. So far as you remove the negative words and use positive words. What is important to Vaidehi?
Being considerate and responsible.
Yes.
They
Right?
want to be participate in the business process.
Correct. Correct. Being participative in the business is important to you. Just stop at that. Right? So therefore, any negative statement made, look for the opposite word, which is positive. Let's see the next one.
Here I am trying to build on what our parents did for us so that they are happy to see their hard earned money grow faster. And here you are hurling allegations of cheating and using unfair means of making money at me. How dare you humiliate me like this?
Look for the negative connotation, think about the positive words and start with Rahul. And it is important to you, you can end. See now what are the words that you get. Go ahead, Deepa.
So Rahul, for you, getting respect and recognition of your efforts is very important to you.
I really appreciate that. Very well done. Anybody else? You're right on the track. You can just add one more word or two here. Anybody wants to attempt? We can see the.
You would like to, Rahul, you would like to see your efforts being recognized, something of that.
Rahul, you would like to have a clean and neat business and expand it so that the fruits can be enjoyed by everybody or something like that.
You see, what is the hurting allegations of cheating and
These are cheating. No, so clean business is the
So-
reverse of cheating. No.
No, sir,
humiliation.
Rahul,
Deepa used the word. Yes, Sonu?
Rahul, I believe you don't like being blamed.
That we cannot add. No.
Again, that's negative being retained, no? That blame is being retained then. Once you say you don't like to be blamed, therefore, whether you will feel that,
I'm
that,
saying you don't like being blamed.
yes. So therefore, whether he feels that, what she's doing is blaming Rahul. Whether he is sitting there, you're now doing a reframe. What is important to Rahul here? Deepa has given us one or two words.
Rahul, you would like a respectful discussion on the way this business can be taken forward in earning, and rather than
Long, it's becoming long. Just stop
Yes.
there rather than it's not required.
Hmm.
You can stop there. This is important to you. And you can end with that this is how things should be done. It is important to you, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's see the reframe and you will get, you've each given different, the hints. Rahul, regard and respect for the hard work of your parents and self-respect are important to you. Humiliation. You are humiliating me. And what is the opposite of humiliation? Self-respect. See, this will come to you with passage of time. All you have to do is just, whatever is the negative statement being made, you have to look at just the opposite of it. Let's see the last one. Now, both of them are same. Vaidehi.
Dune Bites is not McDonald's. Our success is not determined by how many restaurants we have throughout India.
See,
Rahul.
everyone knows about McDonald's. And I know Dune Bites has the potential to be a household name, just like McDonald's, not only in India, but abroad as well. What's wrong with that? You're the only one who's holding us back.
Now, in this reframe, you'll address both Vaidehi and Rahul and then find out what is common positive statement you would like to make. Yes, Deepa.
So Vaidehi and Rahul, what I understand is the brand Doon Bites is very important to you.
Okay. You
We
always
can say that
supply one or
both
two.
both
Yeah.
of them agree that today it is not Doon Bites is not McDonald's, but we can always attempt to make it. Yeah.
So
You have
that
to
means you're
use
siding with
you have to use a reframe language.
Both of you
You are
believe
telling us the meaning, but you have to use the reframe language. Yes.
both of you see that Doonbite wants to be successful, but the process that you're looking at are slightly different.
Stop, but both of you want to see the whole the Doon Bites become successful,
successful.
and then add to what Deepa said, and your sentence is complete. Let's see the reframe. Vaidehi and Rahul, the success of Doon Bites is important to you, both of you, equally in your own ways. Deepa talked about success of Doon Bites, and Sudhi sir, you gave us the both want to do it their own way equally.
But sir, here Vaida is not at all interested in going next branch also. So
But
where is
Praveen sir, her success is restaurant becoming a household word in Dehradun and being successful. While Rahul wants it to expand and go into other areas. But both want the success of the restaurant, but both have different ideas. Correct?
yeah, correct, but then
So what is the reframe?
here unless they open more branches, it will be at least from commercial point of view, what I think so.
Praveen
And
sir, that's the CA speaking, his own
yes,
judgment.
mind the judgment.
That's the CA's judgment.
I agree, sir.
Believes in the quality, not the quantity of the number of restaurants.
Yeah, but
So the Praveen sir, unfortunately, we bring in. That's why I say that you have to
Nice.
suspend your own value judgments.
Hmm.
It's parties who want a way for them. As I give you that example of a woman saying that I want to give up everything.
yes, yes,
I don't want maintenance. Nothing I want. Get me divorced.
yes, yes.
For her,
I
the
remember.
importance is the man waiting. So, I mean, for you, it will look, you are giving up everything. Why are you giving up custody of your child? Why are you giving up maintenance? That's our judgment, preconceived notions that we have about how matters will get resolved. We have to get over that. We must suspend. Even you will get these, ideas in your mind, suspend them. Get behind the positions taken by the parties and you will understand their needs are different. Their interests are totally different. That 10 lakhs is more important. I mean, as a CA now, you will say, why are you giving up 20 lakhs? Yeah, you will get 20 lakhs with interest. After 10 years, it will be 40 lakhs or 50 lakhs. But those 10 lakhs today has more value than 50 lakhs after 10 years.
A bird in hand is worth two in a bush, that is.
Exactly. So therefore, what is parties needs? Parties know the best. Sometimes the word sorry is the word, which solves problems. They're looking for an apology. And while the suit is for damages, it's the hurt which wants to be assured. And even apology was talked about. There are various ways how an apology is given. The various times, if apology is given when the incident happens versus an apology coming 10 years down the line when the litigation has been on. Both these apologies have totally different meanings. An apology which comes after 10 years, the person will say now that, you are now in court, I have now got a one up and now you want to apologize. And an apology happening at the time when the incident occurs can finish the whole dispute. And so then it will be accepted. 10 years down the line, it will not be accepted. So timing of the apology, how it is worded, how it is given, whether it is given in person or it is given in writing, makes so much of difference. So therefore, needs of the parties, their interests are something which they know the best. We should not bring in our own judgment. So let's see the only of one aspect which is left. Let's summarize. Let's summarize this next page, Nalini.
Should I just move
Mhm.
ahead with the next one then? Or
No, this is all over. We have to go
done,
to the
right? Okay.
next slide.
Yeah.
Yes. So what does reframing do? I've already told you, it's just a summary of that. It converts the statement from negative to positive, converts the statement from past to the future. This is important to you. Converts the statement from positions to interests. What is the person really want? Shifts the focus from the targeted person to the speaker. Reduces intensity of emotion. So these are the 5 tasks which are reframing tasks. Let's go to the next. Now, empathy has already been talked about. Why is empathy important? Because, as I said, if I have to reach the context of communication, I must step into the shoes of the person. Empathy is about stepping into the shoes of the person. It is a skill, it is the capacity or ability to imagine oneself in the situation of another. It refers to the act of putting yourself in someone else's shoes. It needs mindful focus and it brings radical changes. Now, let me give you an example. You know, two children fall into a deep ditch. The entire village gathers up there and they're looking down at the 2 children in the ditch. What is the stage? What is the emotional, mindset of people who are looking down on those 2 children? The people who are on the top of the ground and looking at those 2 children who have fallen into the deep ditch. They are in a stage of
Shock.
okay.
Concern. However, maybe
Helplessness.
where there is also pity, where they pity these
Sympathy,
or they don't
pity,
want.
pity, sympathy. Oh, poor fellows, they have fallen down into the ditch. What about the two children who are there in the ditch with amongst each other? What is their state? The 2 children in the ditch.
How to get out or how to get out of the ditch or how can
They're
we
scared.
scared and
Fearful.
Their
how the
state,
help will come to us?
Praveen, their state of mind. What
They're
will be
scared.
now? We are talking about empathy. They are in the state of empathy because each can feel the other's pain because they are in the same state. There cannot be a better person. So, like, instead of putting yourself into the shoes of the man in the ditch, the man who's already with him in the ditch knows exactly how that person is feeling because he's feeling the same way. That is empathy. While people on the top are sympathizing that those 2 have fallen down, the man who's in the ditch with me really knows how we are feeling. As you said, how will we get out of it? Will we be able to do that? Both of them are feeling the same way. That is being in the state of empathy. So when parties come to you, if you have to get into the state of empathy, you have to ask those questions. Why is he here? What is troubling him? What is the problem with him? Unless I ask those questions, I will not be in a position to get into his shoes. So empathy is a very, very strong tool if you want to move on and look at solution to the problem. Because unless I know their interest, unless I know their problem, how do I move? How do I help the parties find solution? And therefore, empathy plays a very, very important role. And not just empathy, empathy with neutrality. You don't have to sympathize with those parties. You have to remain neutral. Let's see the next. Empathy is share feelings, so as you understand the person's positions. As I said, two boys in the ditch, they can share the feelings of each other. They understand each other's position because they are in that same, so instead of they being in that position, can I put myself into the shoes of the other boy and feel the same way as the person who's in the ditch? That is what is required in mediation. Put yourself into the shoes of that person and ask those questions. What is troubling him? Why is he feeling this way? Where is he coming from? Let's see the next one. So for empathy, you need to listen. You need to understand and remain connected. All those qualities, whichever we talked about, will come back here. Listening, understanding, and remaining connected. Let's see the next one. So we had a video. Is the video plays here? No, I don't.
Yes, sir. I'll
Let it
just
play.
try. Yeah.
Okay. See, this is a very beautiful. Just play this with the sound. This is a beautiful song. Remember Gandhi ji's
Yes.
Peer Parai Jaane Re. And therefore, look at, is this sympathy or empathy?
Empathy, because he is in the similar situation.
So he can really feel what it means to be in that situation, right? So let's see the quickly. We have another 5 minutes, maybe, or maybe we are already there. So sympathy is an external force, a communication of pity or feeling of being sorry without understanding the circumstances, right? People on the top, they are sympathizing. They really don't know what those children are actually facing or feeling down there. Let's see the next. So sympathy versus empathy, sahanubhuti, samanubhuti. This is the Hindi expression, if you look for it. So sympathy will be sahanubhuti, empathy is samanubhuti. Both deal with relationship. A person has to be to the feelings, actions and thoughts of others. Let's see the next. So difference between the two is narrow but crucial. Empathy focuses on a mutual or shared feeling. Sympathy focuses on someone else's misfortune. Bechara, poor fellow. Next one. So I said not only empathy, empathy with neutrality. This is perspective taking approach, staying out of judgment, recognizing emotions of the speaker. Perspective taking approach, again context, staying out of judgment, being neutral, and recognizing emotions of the speaker. You have to recognize, it's not that, you can be detached from that, but never not feeling pity. Because sympathy would be pity. Empathy would be understanding the person's position. And I think that's where we come to the end. Questions? See, this is a lot of material which is being given to you over the few days. As I said, it's not easy. And the biggest thing, in adult learning, and today there is a paradigm shift. If you repeat what you actually done or understood or learned, in the next 24 hours, it will remain with you for a week. You repeat it again within a week, it remains for a month. And if they say you repeat it again for a month, you go over it again, it will remain with you forever. But if you don't go back and look at what you've actually known today or learned or talked about, you'll be a clean slate soon. Because problem is with adult learning is we have a lot of information in our head. Problem is retrieval. Why does a child, they say there was a test carried out in Minnesota in 1930s. The primary school children, their retention when a lesson was told was 90%. The middle class was 65%. And as they took the secondary level students, it was 40%. So retention keeps reducing as you grow old. You have a lot of information in your mind because of your experience gathered over the years. Our only problem is retrieval. We are not able to retrieve that information when we want to. And that is only because it gets subdued. And, unless you practice, or like civil procedure code in court, we used to find that very boring in law. But when you practice as a civil lawyer, you're repeating, you're looking at that civil procedure code over and over again. Now it's on my fingertips. If you ask me, different provisions which we use almost every day. So therefore, if you do not go over whatever is being taught, this 40-hour training that you're doing over the period of time, you will be a clean slate. You will go back to the same situation where you are, when you began this. Because you will not be able to retrieve all that information that has been given to you. Because there's too much of information being given to you over the period of time. So you need to go back, do some reading on your own, go back. And that's all because, why are we doing this? Is because of your own, commitment, passion. You need to be really committed to what, it should not look like what you're today doing is just being forced onto you. If that is the situation, I don't think it will be able to retain it for a long time. But since these are life skills, you can practice them within the family, with each other, and you will be able to retain these skills. And these are most important part of what mediation is. One is communication, the other you will be doing now, hereafter, that is negotiation. before we close, anything that you would like to, I mean, whatever you've done so far, any division you want, any
Sir,
yeah, Deepa.
would you suggest any book to read about the whole thing?
You see, there are two very good books. It's William Ury and Roger Fisher.
Sir, one minute. William?
William Ury and Roger Fisher, these are authors
Okay.
of Getting to Yes and Getting Past No. These are books very readable, laced with examples, makes the reading very easy. And you would love to read it. You know, and it will be a revision of whatever we've been doing here. In their own language, they explain the whole thing, but in a very, very simplified language.
So please repeat the name. William Jury.
Ury, U-R-Y. William Ury and Roger Fisher. These are two professors in Harvard. Getting to Yes, Getting Past No.
That's the name of the book.
Yes. These are two different books.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here, see, this I call a Bible. This you will find here, and even Getting to Yes. And then he's written more books also thereafter, Getting to Yes with yourself, etc. But these are two basic books. Getting Past No and Getting to Yes. You need to have some reading, but I've got, you know, this is Dr. Anju.
And in those.
Yes. Indu Aneja. I found a lot of substance, but then, you know, she gave you a capsule, too much material in that 2.5 hours. To retain that, I mean, since I have been doing it, so like it made a lot of sense to me. So I thought I must get the book. But it was heavy material. It's too much of material, you know, to be put into practice. But therefore, we keep saying this 40 hours is merely introducing you to the concept. Ultimately, how you will, in turn, you can really watch actual mediation happening and discuss with the mediator as to what did you do, why did you do this. That's the only way your clarity will come. Real situations only teach you, you know, how to deal with those situations. You know, when those actual mediations are happening, when parties are charged, you can see how narration happens. How does the mediator use whys and what questions? You know, and this
So
is something.
is it easy to get internships for mediation?
So, not easy in the sense like, I mean, you couldn't be, you know, coming to Delhi to be with us at the Samadhan Center. You know, High Court is the best laboratory, or the courts are the best laboratory because so many cases are pending. And they want to get rid of those cases. And, you know, a lot of those matters need not have come to court. But unfortunately, because there's no other way out, so they land up in court. They always say, if you know, have a hammer in your hand, every problem looks to you like a nail. Bang it. So therefore, if there's no other way out, you'll end up in court. But mediation is one way. A lot of these disputes actually shouldn't land up in court. You can sit across and negotiate and finish them. But in some of the cases, we permitted, you know, even people to join online when we were doing actual mediations. But you have to take permission and, you know, and all that. And I'm sure Ganda was saying, Mrinalini can help you with that, and Kamakshi is there, about something available in Mumbai itself, you know, where you can actually see these mediators who are actually doing mediations, you know, and then sit with them and observe after taking, of course, parties' permission, because confidential proceedings are there. But it's possible.
Can we do it along with our profession?
Of course. That's why I'm saying, I mean, I don't have to be a lawyer to be a mediator. These are skills, as I said, you can practice even with your children. You know, I mean, there are times when my wife and I get into some kind of, I mean, all of us sometimes do, you know, an argument on certain things. And I'll tell me your perspective. How do you would like me to do this? And you know, the response I get, keep this mediation in your center. because it's becoming so part of us, you know, when we get into a situation. So therefore, to get into the after positions interest is, okay, help me understand what is it that you're looking at. And then the retort is keep your mediation at the center. But then it has to become part of you. And so therefore you can practice this skill at home with your loved ones, with your, you know, colleagues. These are communication skills which you can, you know, sometimes we get into with the friends. You know, sometimes you have some disputes or some issues crop up. When you deal with negotiation, you realize avoidance may be good, but avoidance can also land you in a bigger trouble. A small issue can become a, you know, a mountain out of a molehill. So you need to nip those issues at bud. But question is, do I have the skills to deal with that situation? How do I approach that situation? And this is all about, so therefore that practice, these two books are very good. These two books are practical, very, very good. I mean, you know, I've read them over and over again, and they give you good ideas. Simple. I mean, there are big words here. We've been telling you, and you know, Americans are good at coining words. When we talk of negotiation, you'll find, you know, they'll say, you know, transformative negotiation, performative negotiation. Now, these are big words. But you don't have to get into that particular part. These two books will give you the simplified form of negotiation, and see the very topic, getting past no and getting to yes.
Hmm.
Very, very beautifully explained. Very beautifully explained.
Okay.
So, plus, of course, how many times you practice, how many times you get the opportunity to witness. In the beginning, you should. Because I mean, it's not easy to say like I've done 40 hours, so I'm a mediator. No. These 40 hours only introduce you to the subject. Thereafter, it is how much you know, they say when you learn piano or any musical instrument, first you learn by practice and later you play with the heart. You don't have to look at the, you know, at the board to see where are the keys and all that. I mean, your mind is somewhere else and you're playing beautiful music. So then you play with the heart. So that's how it happens. In the beginning, you will be struggling, but later on, you will start enjoying it. Doctors call very, very, you know, I know your profession is demanding. Sometimes our profession is also demanding that way. You know, we find solutions at very odd hours to our problems because that just shows they're all in our subconscious. You carry them, you carry your patients' issues. I mean, people don't realize with you and us, people, you know, we buy people's problems. They pay us money and they dump all their problems on us. So we get paid to buy people's problems. That's why they will remain with you in your subconscious all the time. Why are we tired most of the time? Because your subconscious works. You just don't sleep over. You come and you can't switch off. Like it's not a switch off. You like the 10 to 5 job, do the job, come back, and you don't have to think about what happened in the office. That's not what a doctor's profession is. You are 24/7 into it. We are 24/7 into it. You know, but you will enjoy this. I mean, this is not about just removing conflict at the workplace. Take it as something which you will, besides, of course, that will help you to, you know, resolve disputes at workplace, but as life skills. Your communication will improve. Your negotiation skills will improve. Once you understand the basics, the concepts, the basic concepts. Should we call it a day?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.